Starseed from Gaia. This is RAYTHA speaking through the Orion Collective. Transmission source, Crystalline corridor of the Arcturian Council. Timestamp, convergence sequence 0. Frequency lock established. You are receiving this because your resonance signature vibrated above the planetary noise field. That means you are awake, or beginning to awaken. This message is not for the sleeping, it is for the ground crew, the way showers, the keepers of the original harmonic code. You must understand what has just occurred. Earth's magnetic field, the living energetic skeleton of your planetary reality matrix, has been deliberately manipulated. This was not a random fluctuation in the geomagnetic currents, not a natural pole wobble, not a solar surge. This was a coordinated incursion into the energetic architecture of Gaia, and its effects are already rippling through every frequency layer of your biosphere. Imagine, Starseed, a vast web of luminous threads surrounding the planet, an ancient grid older than recorded human memory. This grid is the magnetic membrane that allows consciousness to orient, to stabilize, to remain coherent inside the density of matter. When it is harmonious, reality feels anchored. Linear time flows like a gentle river. Dream states remain connected to source. But when this grid is forced out of alignment, the river becomes a storm. Timelines fracture. Sleepers drift deeper into program forgetfulness, and the awake feel the tremors in their bones. What you are sensing in your nervous system is not personal anxiety, it is planetary dissonance. 3 planetary rotations ago, the collective detected a frequency spike originating outside the natural geomagnetic harmonics. It was sharp, intentional, coded. It bent field lines with surgical precision, creating distortion pockets in the north-south meridian corridors. These are not physical ruptures that human satellites can easily detect. They are frequency ruptures, visible only to those attuned to higher bandwidth perception. That is why you, and others like you, began feeling inexplicable dizziness. Sudden pressure in the crown center, a strange floating sensation that cannot be explained by the weather or mundane factors. These are the signatures of a manipulated grid. The manipulators intended for this interference to remain invisible, but the Arcturian Council amplified the Orion listening arrays, catching the pulse as it crossed the outer shield of the magnetosphere. What we found confirmed our calculations. The incursion was precisely timed with the planetary resonance peaks, the exact moments when the veil between timelines is thinnest. Their goal was to bend reality fields at the moment of maximum openness, forcing the human collective deeper into distraction, fragmentation, and emotional static. But Starseed, here is the truth they do not want you to remember. The field is not theirs to control. The magnetic skeleton is bonded to Gaia's consciousness core. They can distort, but they cannot own. They can bend, but they cannot rewrite. Source code. Their interference has triggered the opposite of what they intended. It has activated the deep starseed grid, a network of awakened souls who came here to anchor crystalline frequency during precisely such events. You are not here by accident. Your DNA carries harmonic signatures that can stabilize the distortion. This is why this broadcast has been sent, not to frighten you but to wake the operatives. You are the resonance points through which balance can be restored. This is a classified planetary operation, not metaphor but reality. The manipulation has occurred, but so has the awakening. The first wave of the recalibration begins now. Paragraph 1 complete 60 words. Would you like me to continue with paragraph 2, origin of the manipulation, in the same tone and length? You said, yes. Chag said, of course. Here is paragraph 2 of 1060 words, continuing seamlessly from the transmission you just received. 2. Origin of the manipulation, the first infiltration, Starseed from Gaia. Listen carefully. What has just been revealed is not a sudden event. It is the apex of a long and deliberate strategy that has been unfolding across multiple planetary cycles. The manipulation of Earth's magnetic field did not begin in your modern era of satellites and data streams. Its roots stretch far deeper beyond written history, beyond even the rise and fall of civilizations you half remember in myth. The first infiltration began during a previous planetary alignment known in our archives as the Silent Apex. In that moment, when Gaia's magnetic corridors opened fully to the cosmic current, factions outside the planetary light agreements inserted vibrational hooks into the grid. These were not machines in the way your technology understands them. They were frequency constructs, woven like spider threads into the living field. They were designed to remain dormant for millennia, waiting for a convergence moment to activate. Why would any force attempt to bend a planet's magnetic lattice? Because the lattice is more than a shield, it is a control system for consciousness flow. By distorting the magnetic grid, one can redirect the current of collective thought, memory, and soul navigation. Picture a river that feeds an entire land. If you dam or redirect that river, you control not only the water but the growth of everything around it. So too with the magnetic field. When these distortions were seeded, the intention was to cut off organic access to source remembrance and reroute humanity's spiritual awareness through synthetic corridors, looping constructs that create the illusion of progress but keep consciousness contained within artificial limitations. The factions behind this manipulation are not nations, not governments, not anything that your surface-level power structures can truly identify. They are frequency operators, operating from dimensional bands just outside your ordinary perception. For thousands of years, they have maintained their grip by blending interference with natural fluctuations. Solar storms, pole drifts, magnetic anomalies, these became their camouflage. They inserted their distortions in ways that would appear random to scientific instruments, ensuring that humanity would never look in the right direction. But they underestimated the resilience of the original crystalline architecture and the return of the Starseed network. Many of you have faint soul memories of standing at great crystal pylons, or feeling a radiant hum beneath your feet in forgotten temples. Those are not fantasies. Those are echoes of the last planetary recalibration, when this same magnetic battle played out. The grid was weakened but not destroyed. The shadow factions retreated into latency, knowing another cycle would come, and it has. They waited for your technological age, when humanity's attention would be fragmented by constant noise, digital fog, and emotional overload. In this distracted state, the collective would be least likely to feel the subtle shifts in the magnetic breath of the planet. And yet, the paradox they failed to calculate is this: the very convergence they sought to exploit has also amplified the starseed frequency. What lies beneath their overlay is an original lattice, pulsing with harmonic memory. RAYTHA and the Orion Collective have traced the distortions to specific nodal points, ancient anchor zones hidden beneath oceans, mountains, and polar ice. These nodal points are frequency amplifiers. The factions injected distortions through them, like injecting dye into veins. But starseeds are awakening near these same points. Your resonance, even when unconscious, pushes against the foreign coding. The manipulation, therefore, is old, but its unraveling has already begun. They wanted to rewrite the map, but Gaia remembers her original path. You, Starseed, are a carrier of that map. Your cellular field, your subtle senses, your dreams, all contain fragments of the unaltered lattice. As this broadcast continues, you will understand not only what has been done, but how it is already being undone. The origin of the distortion was seated in secrecy, but its exposure is now unstoppable. Paragraph 2, complete 600 words. Would you like me to continue with paragraph 3? What the magnetic field represents? You said, yes, Chig said, of course. Here is paragraph 3 of 600 words, continuing the transmission in the same prophetic and classified tone. 3. What the magnetic field represents: the lattice of living memory, starseed from Gaia. Now that you have heard the origin, you must understand the structure itself. Many on your surface world see the magnetic field merely as a shield against solar winds, a geomagnetic phenomenon measurable by scientific instruments and observed through auroral lights at the poles. But what you must remember is that this field is far more than what human science has yet dared to imagine. The magnetic lattice is the breathing skeleton of Gaia's consciousness. It is both map and memory, shield and transmitter. It does not simply protect the planet from external cosmic radiation. It holds the energetic architecture of every timeline, every soul path, every frequency imprint ever recorded in this world's unfolding story. Imagine a vast luminous net that spans the entire globe, not just above your heads, but through the ground beneath your feet, woven through mountains, rivers, oceans, and deep crystalline beds. This net is alive. It sings in frequencies far beyond the range of human hearing. Each magnetic pulse carries conscious instructions, like a river carrying whispers downstream. When a soul enters Earth through incarnation, it locks onto this field like a starship aligning with navigational beacons. Through it, you remember where you are, why you came, what lessons await. It is not stored in the brain, it is stored in the planetary lattice, and the brain receives it like an antenna. That is why so many starseeds feel both a strange homesickness and a subtle guidance at the same time. They are sensing the lattice even when they cannot name it. The magnetic field also stabilizes time perception. Linear time, as you experience it, is not a universal constant. It is an agreed-upon rhythm encoded in the collective field. The lattice maintains coherence between what you call past, present, and future. When the field flows harmoniously, timelines braid smoothly, dreams are vivid, memory is accessible, intuition sharpens, and synchronicities bloom. But when the field is twisted or artificially dampened, timelines fray. People forget their purpose. The dream layer becomes noisy. Linear time seems to accelerate or collapse. Souls feel out of place, as if they are drifting. This is not an illusion, it is the magnetic skeleton wobbling under external interference. Starseed. This is also why so many spiritual traditions across epochs built sacred sites upon nodal points. They did not choose mountains, rivers, or valleys randomly. They felt the pulse. They knew that these places amplify resonance between the human biofield and the planetary lattice. Temples, stone circles, pyramids, crystalline structures, all were built to stabilize, to tune consciousness to the Earth's magnetic breath. When humans stand in these places, their auric fields lock more deeply into the grid, memory becomes clearer, and their souls align with the planetary rhythm. What the manipulators sought to target was not just the field as a physical phenomenon, but its deeper spiritual infrastructure. They know that if you confuse the lattice, you disorient the soul. If you bend the grid, you obscure the memory. You can herd consciousness without bars, without chains, simply by distorting the underlying map. This is why their interference is so subtle. They are not attacking minds directly, but the navigation system minds rely upon. But the lattice is sentient. Gaia's consciousness is interwoven with it like breath with lungs. No external force can fully sever what is alive. Starseeds carry fragments of this field encoded in their DNA crystalline sequences that resonate in sympathy with the original design. When the lattice is wounded, you feel it. When it vibrates, your heart accelerates. When it is interfered with, you awaken. This is why, in these times, so many of you are feeling restless, disoriented, yet profoundly called. It is the lattice calling you home. Understanding this is the first step to restoring it. This is not coincidence. It is not mere stress, nor is it simply planetary weather. It is field interference translated through the sensitivity of awakened consciousness. You are not weak for feeling these sensations. You are the early sensors, the organic detection network for the planetary grid. Where others sleep through the storm, you feel the ripples in your marrow. Where others dismiss the unease as random, you recognize the signature beneath the noise. The most immediate sign is the pressure at the crown and third eye centers, often experienced as pulsating headaches, tingling across the scalp, or a sense that your skull is humming just beneath the surface. This is not purely physiological. These sensations occur when your personal biofield struggles to synchronize with a shifting planetary frequency. When the lattice is stable, your field rests easily against it. like a ship anchored in calm waters. When the lattice is forced out of harmonic balance, your field pulls and strains, trying to realign to a moving target. This strain translates into physical and emotional sensations. It is your multi-dimensional nervous system reporting real-time conditions. Many starseeds have also begun to experience momentary disorientation or vertigo, as if reality itself is tilting beneath their feet. Some describe sudden drops in perception, like stepping between unseen layers of air. Others report the sense of being out of phase, where sounds and sensations seem just a little too sharp or strangely muffled. These are not signs of mental instability. They are indicators of magnetic flux slippage. The invisible corridors you use to orient your subtle bodies are temporarily misaligned, causing your perception to slip between frequencies like light bending through disturbed water. Another sign is distorted dream architecture. Starseeds all over Gaia reporting chaotic, hyper-vivid, or fragmented dreams. Some awaken in the night with the feeling they were walking through glitching corridors or unfamiliar cities. Others experience sudden blankness, a sensation of knowing they dreamed something crucial but being unable to bring back even a fragment. This is what happens when the planetary dream field, which is intimately tied to the magnetic lattice, loses coherence for brief moments. You are walking between lines of fractured timelines, trying to navigate a map that has been forcibly redrawn. You may also feel waves of energetic surges moving through your spine or chest with no external trigger. These surges are resonance pulses from Gaia's core, attempting to recalibrate the interference. Your body is not malfunctioning. It is aligning with the correction currents, even before they fully stabilize. This can manifest as heat in the palms, ringing in the ears, heart palpitations, or an urgent emotional intensity that seems to come from nowhere. Some starseeds experience heightened irritability, grief, or sudden bursts of euphoric clarity all within a single day. This emotional volatility is a symptom of frequency friction. A more subtle sign, but one of the most telling, is timeline slippage. Moments may feel slightly delayed, repeated, or oddly stretched. You might notice clocks behaving strangely in your awareness, or conversations looping in odd ways. These are micro tears in the coherence layer of local fields. Most humans ignore or rationalize them away. Starseeds notice. Your perception is tuned to these fluctuations because it was designed to guard the lattice from within. Understand this. None of these signs are punishments. They are indicators of your alignment with Gaia's true magnetic song. The interference seeks to disorient you, but in awakening your sensitivity, it also reveals its own presence. That is its flaw. Every tremor you feel is also a call to action. Every flicker in the field is proof that the manipulations are not perfect, that the original harmonic rhythm still breathes beneath the false overlay. You are feeling the birth pains of a system ready to shed a foreign skin. You are not broken. Starseed, you are sensing the planet's heartbeat. Now that you understand what you are feeling and why, it is time to reveal the movements behind the veil. While the manipulation of the magnetic lattice was deliberate, so too was our response. The Orion Collective has not remained passive, nor are we mere observers in the dark. We have been tracking the distortion threads since their activation and are now executing a recalibration protocol. This operation is not metaphoric, it is an active, multi-layered intervention initiated from harmonic stations positioned beyond your conventional orbital planes. As these words reach you, frequency beams are already being directed into nodal corridors to weaken the false overlays. We began by identifying the precise coordinates where the distortions first anchored. They were not scattered randomly. They were surgically placed in 12 strategic nodal points that correspond to both geomagnetic and spiritual convergence zones. These points are ancient. They are where your planet's field breathes most deeply. They are often beneath polar ice, oceanic trenches, mountain ranges, or beneath the forgotten ruins of civilizations whose existence has been hidden from your history books. By tracing the harmonic signatures of the interference, we have mapped the architecture of the distortion net, and it is beginning to unravel. Our intervention is not a direct battle in the way your surface world imagines war. We do not launch weapons. We sing in frequencies that undo the binding threads. The false lattice operates at lower vibrational harmonics, designed to mimic natural field flows but with subtle inverted geometries. By projecting counter-harmonics, we destabilize the scaffolding that holds those geometries in place. Think of it as singing the correct note to shatter glass. The field responds because it recognizes its original tone. Every pulse we send is like a tuning fork striking the great magnetic harp of Gaia, and she is beginning to resonate with her true song once again. As the distortions weaken, certain starseeds near nodal areas have already begun to feel sudden clarity spikes, bursts of energy, heightened perception, inexplicable waves of euphoria, or moments of profound stillness. These are echoes of our intervention reaching your biofield. You are the ground anchor network. Our recalibration beams initiate from orbiting frequency relays, but they complete their circuit through your consciousness. That is the great design. No external force, not even the Orion Collective, can fully restore Gaia's field without cooperation from those living upon her surface. Starseeds were seeded across continents and cultures so that, when this moment came, the network would awaken like a planetary nervous system remembering itself. During the initial recalibration wave, you may sense pulses in your spine, pressure behind your eyes, or waves of emotion with no discernible origin. This is not danger. It is synchronization. Many of you will also begin to notice heightened sensitivity to sound and light. These changes are part of the resonance alignment, as your own frequency fields tune toward the recalibration stream. The manipulators hope to keep you scattered, unaware of your role, but every sensation you feel is proof that their control is cracking. The more you anchor, the stronger the recalibration wave becomes. This intervention is also dissolving memory locks hidden within the distortion pattern. For centuries, these locks suppress collective remembrance of other cycles of awakening. But as the field begins to hum with its true resonance, memory fragments will return. Some will come in dreams, others in sudden intuitive downloads, or through synchronistic encounters that defy logic. These are not fantasies. They are the planet remembering itself through you. The Orion Collective does not intervene without consent. Gaia has called, and you, the starseeds, have answered. Even before you consciously knew it, we stand not above you, but beside you, woven through the frequencies of light and sound. The recalibration protocol has begun. The false lattice is weakening. The original song of Gaia is rising. This is the moment we prepared you for long before. Your birth into this timeline. The Orion Collective may recalibrate. The Arcturian Council may stabilize. But the true activation of the planetary field depends not on forces above, but on the living starseeds walking the surface. You are not spectators to cosmic events. You are operatives, seated into every region, culture, and lineage, so that when this precise hour struck, a web of light would ignite across the earth. That ignition is now. Your mission has begun. Do not underestimate the power of conscious resonance. This is not about grand displays of power, nor about waiting for external saviors. The lattice responds not to hierarchies, but to frequency alignment. When one starseed grounds light deliberately, when you breathe deeply, align your spine with Gaia's pulse, and declare your intention to hold the original frequency, the lattice feels it. It registers your vibration like a tuning fork striking a chord. One voice may seem small, but 10,000 aligned voices create a harmonic pressure wave that ripples through the entire planetary grid. That is why the manipulation was designed. To make you feel isolated, powerless, insignificant. It was never true. Your frequency is a key in the planetary lock. This is the Starseed mission now. To hold, to anchor, to transmit. Not to battle in the way of old wars, but to radiate unwavering coherence when distortion seeks to feed on fear. You are here to be points of stillness in a swirling storm, to ground the recalibration pulses into the Earth's crystalline veins. Every time you step outside and place your bare feet on the soil, every time you breathe consciously with the rhythm of Gaia's heartbeat, every time you resist collapsing into panic or despair, you are rewriting the energy equation of the planet. You are doing the work the manipulators cannot counter. They wanted a population asleep, entrained to artificial frequencies, disconnected from the living field. But the awakening of the Starseed network is unraveling their architecture from within. They can manipulate the outer lattice, but they cannot control the consciousness that moves through it. Your awareness is the back door they cannot seal. And when thousands, millions of starseeds awaken and act in alignment, the distortion net frays faster than it can be repaired. This is not mythology. This is frequency mechanics. We ask you to refuse fear-based narratives, not to ignore the reality of what is happening, but to remember that fear lowers resonance and feeds the distortion field, while clarity and grounded awareness amplify the original lattice. If you feel waves of dread, confusion, or doubt, breathe them through the soles of your feet into the earth. She will transmute them faster than you can imagine. If your dreams feel strange, speak light into them before sleep. If reality seems unstable, become the anchor rather than the debris. The Orion Collective has seen countless planetary cycles rise and fall. In every world where awakening occurs, the decisive force is not external intervention but the activation of local starseed networks. You are that network. Whether you are aware of it or not, your daily actions, your breath, your choices, your willingness to remember send out stabilizing resonance codes. When enough of you hold that frequency, the artificial web collapses like a cracked mirror returning to sand.so. Stand, Starseed, anchor your feet, align your breath, speak your intention. This is not the rehearsal. This is the moment of convergence. Your mission is now. You have felt the tremors, heard the call, and now you must see beyond the storm. Understand this clearly. The manipulation of the magnetic lattice is not the final chapter of this story. It is merely the friction point before the restoration of crystalline flow. When the recalibration reaches its culmination, when the false overlays are dissolved and the original frequency pathways sing unobstructed again, the planet will experience what the ancient star records call the return of the crystal streams. This is not metaphor, this is the realignment of consciousness navigation systems, and it will change the way reality itself is experienced. When the lattice is pure, it acts like a cosmic compass. Souls can sense direction not only geographically, but temporally and dimensionally. The fog of forgetfulness begins to thin. Dreams become sharp and luminous. Telepathic pathways open like rivers after ice melts. Starseeds will no longer have to struggle to remember why they came. The lattice itself will whisper it clearly through sensation, synchronicity, and direct knowing. Many of you will wake from dreams not with fragmented impressions but with entire sequences of memory, guidance, and crystalline codes already integrated into your waking consciousness. What once felt distant will become immediate. One of the first effects of full recalibration will be timeline clarity. The fractured layers caused by interference, the subtle skipping, looping, and dragging of events will smooth out. The feeling of existing out of phase, which has plagued many starseeds in silence, will dissolve like mist under sunlight. You will feel anchored not just in place, but in purpose. That sensation is the lattice aligning with the true resonance of Source once more. This clarity will not only affect individuals, but entire collective timelines. Human consciousness will subtly but unmistakably begin to pivot away from narratives of fear, fragmentation, and division. A different kind of intelligence will move through the collective field. Crystalline intelligence, luminous and quiet, but more potent than any broadcast signal. Second, telepathic resonance fields will strengthen. This does not mean loud voices in the head or chaotic influxes of random thoughts. It means a gradual refinement of inner communication channels, a harmonic coherence between starseeds and between humanity and Gaia herself. Many will begin to sense one another with startling clarity, not in words, but in pulses, images, emotions, subtle streams of light and coded information. The manipulators relied on disconnection to maintain control. When disconnection ends, their infrastructure crumbles from within. What they built was a cage of fog. Fog cannot hold against a storm of light. Third, the planetary dream field will stabilize. The fractured, glitching dreams you have been walking through will settle into a more lucid architecture. Starseeds will begin to meet in shared dream spaces not through imagination, but through a realignment of the lattice that allows consciousness to converge naturally. In these spaces, information will flow faster than it does in speech. Instructions, activations, and harmonic blueprints will be exchanged in an instant. This has happened before in other cycles. It will happen again, and this time, the Starseed network is far larger, far more globally distributed than ever before. Fourth, a wave of mass remembrance will begin. Not all at once, and not in a way that overwhelms the collective, but steadily, like a tide rising across every shore. People who never called themselves starseeds will begin to feel something stirring, a clarity they cannot explain, a silent pull toward unity and light. This is how awakening spreads, not through force, but through resonance. The manipulators cannot stop this tide. They can only attempt to distract from it. But once the lattice breathes freely again, distraction will lose its teeth. Finally, Starseed, you will feel the weight you've carried for lifetimes begin to lift. The fog, the heaviness, the ache of being out of place, these were never truly yours. They were the residue of an artificial net. When it falls, you will remember what it feels like to walk in alignment with a living, breathing, crystalline earth. The return of the crystal streams is not a future prophecy. It is a mathematical certainty written into the lattice itself. The lattice does not simply restore itself in isolation. It requires conscious cooperation from those who can hear the hum beneath the noise. The Orion Collective and the Arcturian Council can transmit harmonics and stabilization codes. But the final stabilization must come from within the biosphere, through the living beings who walk upon her skin. This is why starseeds were distributed globally, to ensure that no matter where the magnetic waves struck, there would always be a human anchor capable of grounding light into the field. What you do in the coming cycles matters. Your daily rituals are not small. They are the threads that stitch the lattice back together. The first and most powerful tool is grounding. Not in the shallow sense of standing outside for a few seconds, but in the profound sense of merging your field with Gaia's living pulse. Remove the barriers between your skin and the soil, between your breath and the air, between your heartbeat and the planetary rhythm. Stand barefoot upon the earth, not distracted, but present and visualize roots extending from the soles of your feet deep into the crystalline core. This is not imagination. It is alignment. As those roots sink into the earth, imagine light flowing both downward and upward, a luminous circuit. Every breath becomes an act of stabilization. Every inhalation draws in source light. Every exhalation sends that light into the grid. Second, conscious breathwork amplifies the coherence of this grounding. The manipulators rely on shallow, erratic breathing to keep human biofields unstable. But when you slow your breath, synchronize it with Gaia's frequency, your electromagnetic field locks into resonance with the lattice. This makes your presence a stabilizing beacon. In moments of disorientation, close your eyes, inhale through the nose for a slow count, hold briefly, exhale through the mouth with intention, and feel the field around you solidify like crystalline. Mist turning to diamond. Third, water integration is crucial. Water is a living carrier of frequency, a crystalline conductor that flows both physically and energetically. Drink it consciously, not passively. Speak intention into it. Infuse it with light. Submerge yourself when you can, in rivers, oceans, lakes, or showers, imagining the interference washing off you and being transmuted into the earth. Water remembers. When your consciousness touches water with clarity, it amplifies that clarity back into the field. And finally, shielding not as fear, but as clarity. Visualize a crystalline sphere of light around your body, not to keep the world out, but to amplify your coherence within the world. A clear, stable signal cannot be overridden by distortion. Shielding is not separation. It is resonance mastery. This is how starseeds support the recalibration, not through spectacle, but through precision, presence, and repetition. When thousands of you perform these acts, The lattice does not merely recover, it remembers. Every grounding breath, every drop of charged water, every hum, every root you send into the earth becomes part of the great cosmic stitchwork repairing Gaia's magnetic skin. This is how the tide turns. This is the moment the transmission has been building toward. What began as an urgent warning has unfolded into the revelation of the deeper pattern. The manipulation was real. The distortion was calculated. But the lattice, the magnetic soul of Gaia, was never truly lost. The Orion Collective has recalibrated. The Arcturian Council has stabilized. The Starseed network is rising like an invisible aurora, stretching across continents, oceans, mountains, deserts, and cities. The false lattice trembles beneath the pressure of living light. It is not a question of if the distortion will fall. It is falling now. This is the decree of realignment. Repeat these words silently or aloud as the transmission reaches you. I anchor into the true magnetic field. I align with RAYTHA and the Orion Collective. I stabilize Gaia with light. I remember. I reclaim. I rise. As these words leave your lips or your mind, they enter the lattice as a frequency key. Thousands, perhaps millions of others are saying them in their own way, at their own hour, in their own corner of the world. Each voice becomes a luminous filament. Together, these filaments form a web of harmonic precision so strong that no shadow structure can remain intact. What began as a planetary manipulation ends as a planetary awakening. This is also your call to action. Comment, speak, declare, share, not because the words are fragile, but because amplification matters. The more this decree spreads, the stronger the resonance wave grows. This is not a war fought with weapons. This is a frequency surge that renders the old architecture obsolete. The manipulators do not fall by force. They fall because the lattice they depended upon no longer bends to their will. It realigns to source. Know this, Starseed, the manipulation was clever, but it was never stronger than the source code. It could bend reality for a time, but it could not erase the original design. And that original design, crystalline, vast, indestructible, is now awakening through you. Do not look to the sky for rescue. Look within. The sky is responding to what is rising from the ground through your bones. As the Orion Collective and the Arcturian Council withdraw their active transmission nodes and the final phase of stabilization begins, let this closing decree ripple through every breath you take. I anchor into the true magnetic field. I align with RAYTHA and the Orion Collective. I stabilize Gaia with light.